The Galactic Council Hall was a place of light. A giant ring of floating seats surrounded a bright star at the center. Hundreds of alien leaders sat in silence, watching glowing screens and soft-moving maps of the galaxy. The air was calm. Too calm. For many cycles, there had been no great wars. Only small border fights. Trade problems. Political noise. The galaxy believed it was finally peaceful. High Speaker Tauren adjusted his long silver robe and looked around the hall. "Let us begin today's meeting," he said slowly. "Report the outer system status." A tall blue alien stood up. "Sector 12 is stable. No enemy movement." Another leader spoke. "Trade routes are clear. Pirate activity is low." The council nodded in comfort. Everything was normal. Then, a soft sound came from the main sensor screen. Not an alarm. Not a warning. Just a small blinking light. A young technician looked at it and frowned. "That is strange," she whispered. The signal was weak, but very deep. She touched the screen, enlarging the data. The light became a long dark line moving through empty space. Not fast. Not slow. But steady. And silent. The technician's eyes widened. She stood quickly. "High Speaker, there is an unknown signal from the dark zone." The hall became slightly quiet. The dark zone was an empty region of space beyond known maps. No stars. No life. No reason to travel there. Tauren raised a thin eyebrow. "Show it." The screen changed. The line grew clearer. No heat signal. No energy trail. No known engine mark. Only, movement. "This does not match any ship design," said the head scientist. "No metal signature. No plasma. No warp echo." "Could it be a natural event?" another leader asked. The scientist slowly shook his head. "No. This is controlled movement." The room became silent. A small green leader laughed nervously. "Perhaps a lost drone from some young race." Before the scientist could reply, the main archive system activated by itself. Old files opened. Very old. Red warning symbols filled the screen. One word appeared at the top. Humanity. The laughter died instantly. Several leaders turned pale. Some looked away. Others leaned forward in fear. Tauren's voice became low. "Why did the archive open human files?" The system answered in a cold tone. "Signal pattern matches classified human technology. Probability, 98%. The hall froze. Humans. The youngest space race. From a small yellow star. A species that should still be learning basic travel. And yet. Everyone remembered the stories. Not from legends. From history. Humans had entered the galaxy quietly. They had fought small wars. They had lost some. They had won more. But always, they hid something. An old insect-like leader spoke with shaking voice. "Humans do not send signals without reason." Another replied softly. "Humans do not show weapons, unless it is already too late." Tauren stood slowly. His many eyes moved across the hall. "Activate long-range scan. Maximum range. All layers of space." The screens flickered. Numbers raced. Sensors burned with power. Then, the image changed. Space near the dark zone began to look wrong. Not empty. Not full. But, bent. As if reality itself was folding. Then something appeared. Not light. Not shadow. A shape darker than space. Long. Sharp. Silent. One ship. Floating without movement. No engines. No glow. No sound. Just presence. A whisper moved through the hull. That is not a ship. It does not obey physics. Before anyone could speak again, another shape appeared. Then another. Then 10. Then hundreds. A fleet. A massive fleet. All black. All silent. All made of something the scanners could not understand. The scientist whispered in fear. The material is impossible. It is not normal matter. Taurin asked quietly. Then what is it? The scientist swallowed. Dark matter, shaped into warships. The words hit the hull like thunder. Dark matter. The rarest substance in the universe. Impossible to control. Impossible to build with. And yet, humanity had done it. A senior leader stood suddenly. Why were we never told about this? The archive answered again. Human Dark Fleet classified. Access denied to all non-human authorities. The council understood the truth. Humans had built this in secret. For a very long time. Not for war. Not for conquest. But for something worse. Defense. Taurin stared at the screen. The fleet was moving. Slowly. Directly. Toward the Galactic Council system. He whispered the words every leader was thinking. Humans are coming. And for the first time in many ages. The rulers of the galaxy felt fear. Because when humans finally revealed their true power. It was never a warning. It was a decision. Silence ruled the Galactic Council Hall. Not peaceful silence. Fearful silence. Hundreds of alien leaders stared at the black fleet on the screen. No one spoke. No one moved. Even breathing felt dangerous. The human ships did not attack. They did not send a message. They simply waited. High Speaker Taurin slowly lowered himself back into his seat. His many hands trembled. Begin full analysis, he ordered softly. Every scanner. Every archive. I want to know what we are facing. The scientists obeyed at once. Energy beams crossed space. Quantum sensors burned. Ancient machines awakened. But the fleet remained invisible to most systems. Only its shadow could be seen. It is like looking at a hole in reality, whispered one scientist. Our scans pass through them, and never return. A tall crystal leader stood up. Humans are still a young race, he said loudly. They cannot control dark matter. This must be an illusion. Before anyone replied, the archive system opened another old file. A battle image filled the hull. Small human ships facing a massive alien empire. The empire was ancient. Powerful. Feared by many. And yet, the next image showed their capital world broken into dust. Text appeared. War of the Seventh Empire, result, human victory. Murmurs spread like fire. That war was classified. Only legends remained. The empire vanished in one night. Taurin whispered. And humans never explained how. More files opened. Human fleets defeating stronger enemies. Human weapons breaking shields no one else could break. Human soldiers fighting when logic said they should run. Always winning. Always hiding something. A small bird-like leader spoke with shaking voice. Why would humans come here now? The scientist answered slowly. The fleet's path is direct. They are not passing through. They are heading to us. Panic began to rise. One leader shouted. Send a warning. Tell them this is neutral space. Another cried. Prepare the defense fleets. A third screamed. We must evacuate the capital star. Taurin raised his voice. Calm yourselves. The hall slowly quieted. He turned to the main screen again. The fleet was closer now. Still silent. Still perfect. Still terrible. Where are the human diplomats? Taurin asked. A technician replied. None present, High Speaker. Humanity has not sent a representative in many cycles. Taurin closed his eyes. Humans had left the council long ago. They said they wished to observe quietly. Now the galaxy understood what that meant. An old machine leader activated its ancient memory banks. I remember something, it said slowly. A human phrase, recorded long ago. The hall listened. The machine spoke. We do not seek to rule the galaxy. We seek to protect our home. And those who threaten it will meet our shadows. Many leaders shivered. Their shadows, someone whispered. On the screen, the fleet began to spread. Not attack formation. Not defense. A circle. Surrounding the entire council system. Blocking every escape path. High Speaker, said the head navigator, they have positioned ships near every jump gate. Taurin whispered. They are not trapping us. He paused. They are protecting something. What? A leader asked. Taurin looked slowly toward the human border region on the star map. Earth. The hall gasped. The fleet was not guarding the council. It was guarding humanity's home. And the council was now inside the protected zone. A realization hit everyone at once. This was not a threat. This was a shield. One brave leader stood. If this is defense, then who are they defending against? No one answered. Because everyone knew. The galaxy itself. Another sensor alarm sounded. Different from before. Closer. Inside the system. A single small ship appeared near the council station. Not dark. Not hidden. A normal human vessel. White hull. Old design. Slow and harmless. The ship sent a signal. Simple. Clear. Request to communicate. The hull exploded in voices. They are here. Open it. No, this is a trap. Taurin raised his hands. Open the channel, he said. The screen changed. At first, only static. Then an image appeared. A human. Male. Calm face. Gray hair. Simple uniform. No weapons visible. He looked directly at the council. And spoke in a quiet voice. Galactic Council, do not be afraid. The hall froze. The human continued. We did not come to fight. He paused. We came, because someone in this galaxy is planning a mistake. The leaders stared in shock. Taurin slowly asked. What mistake? The human's eyes grew serious. The kind that destroys civilizations. Behind him, through a window, the dark fleet could be seen. Waiting. Watching. Silent. And powerful. The human finished softly. And before that mistake happens, humanity must remind the galaxy. Who protects the balance? The channel closed. The fleet did not move. But now, everyone understood. This was not a visit. This was a warning. And whatever was coming next would change the galaxy forever. The council hall was no longer calm. It was heavy. Like the air itself was afraid to move. After the human message ended, no one spoke for a long time. Hundreds of leaders sat frozen, staring at the silent dark fleet on the screen. High Speaker Taurin finally broke the silence. Track the small human ship, he said quietly. Do not provoke it. Do not block it. The navigators nodded. The ship is holding position near Gate 3, one said. It is waiting. Waiting. The word made many leaders uncomfortable. Meanwhile, the Dark Fleet continued its slow movement. Not forward. Not backward. But, adjusting. Ships slid through space like shadows over water. Perfect control. Perfect order. No collisions. No mistakes. One scientist whispered. This formation, it is not for war. Then what is it for? Someone asked. The scientist swallowed. It is for interception. Defense against something very powerful. Fear returned. What could be more powerful than this fleet? A leader asked. No one answered. Taurin ordered deeper scans. Focus on one ship only. The closest one. Energy beams touched the dark hull. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the scanners screamed. Data vanished. Screens turned black. Machines shut down across half the hull. Shut it off, a technician cried. They cut the scan. Silence returned. The scientist looked at the broken screen in horror. The ship absorbed the scan, and erased our systems. Taurin whispered. That was not defense, that was mercy. Because the ship could have destroyed the scanners. Instead, it only silenced them. Another leader stood up, voice shaking. How long have humans had this power? The archive opened again by itself. More files. Dates appeared. 200 years. 300. 400. The fleet was not new. It was ancient. Built slowly. Hidden carefully. Improved endlessly. While the galaxy laughed at humans as a weak race. An old reptile leader spoke softly. So while we were fighting each other, humans were preparing for something bigger. Taurin nodded slowly. Yes, for us. Suddenly, space outside the council station changed. Stars near the Dark Fleet began to fade. Not disappear. Just, dim. As if light was afraid to pass near the ships. One navigator whispered. The ships are bending gravity, and light. They are rewriting space itself, said the scientist. A young leader stood, anger replacing fear. This is an invasion. We must respond. Taurin raised one hand. Look again, he said. The screen zoomed out. The fleet was not aiming weapons at the council. All weapons were turned outward. Away from the station. Toward the outer galaxy. Toward unknown space. They are not threatening us, Taurin said slowly. They are guarding us. Confusion spread. Guarding us from what? A leader asked. Before anyone answered. A new signal appeared. Not from humans. Not from the fleet. From deep beyond the dark zone. Far away. Very far. A red mark blinked on the edge of known space. Moving fast. Very fast. The navigators went pale. That speed, no known ship can travel that fast. The scientist checked the data. His voice dropped to a whisper. That is not a fleet. It is a single object. Taurin leaned forward. Size. The answer came slowly. Larger than a moon. Gasps filled the hull. What kind of ship is that? The scientist shook his head. Not a ship. A weapon. The Dark Fleet reacted at once. For the first time, the human ships changed formation. They turned. All at the same time. Facing the new red signal. Weapons systems activated silently. Space around them grew darker. Heavier. Dangerous. Taurin understood now. Humans did not come to warn the Council. They came to defend the galaxy. A memory returned to him. An old human message recorded long ago. He whispered the words. When monsters wake, we become the wall. The red object was getting closer. The dark fleet moved forward. Slow. Calm. Unstoppable. The small human ship near Gate 3 sent another message request. Taurin nodded. The human commander appeared again. This time, his face was serious. Galactic Council, he said. Now you see why we stayed silent. Taurin asked carefully. What is coming? The human replied in a low voice. An ancient enemy. Older than your council. Stronger than your fleets. The hall trembled. Can you stop it? Someone asked. The human looked at the dark fleet behind him. Yes, he said. Then he added quietly. But only if the galaxy does not interfere. The channel closed. The red object kept coming. The human fleet kept moving. And the galaxy realized something terrifying. Humanity was not the strongest race. They were the last defense. The red object continued its silent rush toward the Council system. It did not slow. It did not change direction. It moved like a force of nature. The dark human fleet formed a wide wall between the object and the Council. Thousands of ships spread across space, locking positions with perfect balance. No panic. No noise. Only calm preparation. Inside the Council Hall, fear returned stronger than before. High Speaker Taurin stood slowly. All defense fleets, hold position, he ordered. No one fires. No one moves without permission. Because now, everyone understood. This battle was not theirs. It belonged to humanity. The small human ship near Gate 3 sent another message request. Taurin nodded. The screen opened. The human commander appeared again. Behind him, officers moved quietly, reading data, touching glowing panels. No chaos. No fear. Only focus. Taurin spoke first. You said an ancient enemy is coming. Tell us what it is. The human looked at the screen for a moment. Then he answered slowly. We call them, the Devourers. The word echoed in the hall. They are not a race, the human continued. They are a living weapon. He raised one hand, and an image appeared. Dark shapes swallowing stars. Whole systems turning empty. Civilizations erased. They were created long ago by a forgotten empire, he said. Built to destroy enemies, but they broke free. The Council watched in horror. They move between galaxies, the human said. They feed on energy, matter, and time itself. A leader whispered. Why have we never seen them before? The human replied calmly. Because humans stopped them, many times. Shock filled the hall. Taurin stared at the human. You fought this enemy before? Yes, the human answered. When we were still fighting on our own planet. Confusion spread. How could a young race face such monsters? Someone asked. The human gave a small sad smile. Because they came for Earth first. Silence fell. They found our system by accident, he said. We lost 3 colonies. Billions died. The image changed. Burning planets. Broken moons. Dark shadows moving through space. But we learned fast, the human continued. We studied them. We hunted them. We failed, many times. The dark fleet outside glowed faintly. And then, the human said softly. We built this fleet. The Council understood now. Not a weapon. A shield. Why did you hide this from us? Taurin asked. The human answered simply. Because fear creates war. And war would only help the devourers. He looked directly at the council. If the galaxy knew they existed, panic would destroy more worlds than they ever could. Taurin nodded slowly. What do you need from us now? The human paused. Nothing, he said. Just silence, and trust. The red object grew closer on the main screen. Now its shape was clearer. A twisted mass of metal and shadow. No engines. No wings. Only a moving fortress of darkness. Inside it, thousands of energy cores pulsed like hearts. The scientist whispered. That is not one weapon, that is an army. The human commander turned slightly. All human fleets, activate Phase 1, he ordered. Across space, the dark ships began to glow. Not bright. Deep. Like stars hidden behind shadows. Space around them bent harder. Time slowed slightly near their hulls. Taurin felt his vision blur. Even watching them was dangerous. What are they doing? He asked. Creating a cage, the human replied. A prison made of gravity and dark matter. The devourer object entered the trap. For the first time, it reacted. Its surface opened. Thousands of smaller drones burst out. Flying fast. Straight toward the human fleet. The council gasped. Weapons fired. Beams of red and black energy crossed space. Human shields formed instantly. The drones vanished on impact. Erased. But more kept coming. The human commander remained calm. Hold formation, he said. One dark ship moved forward alone. It did not fire. It simply opened a field. The space in front of it disappeared. The drones flew into nothing. Gone. No explosion. No light. Just, erased from reality. The hull trembled. Taurin whispered. This power could rule the galaxy. The human answered quietly. Yes. Then he added. But we choose not to. The main devourer object slowed. For the first time in millions of years. It had met resistance. And the galaxy understood something new. Humanity was not protecting itself. Humanity was protecting everyone. From a war. No one else even knew existed. The devourer fortress slowed inside the dark cage. For the first time, it hesitated. Its outer surface shifted, opening deep wounds of red light. Inside the council hall, every leader held their breath. High Speaker Taurin whispered. It is thinking. The human commander did not look afraid. All fleets. Phase 2, he said calmly. Across space, the dark warships changed shape. Armor plates moved. Hidden lines of energy appeared. Weapons systems awakened without sound. The devourer reacted at once. Thousands of drones returned to its surface. Then, the fortress fired. A single beam of deep crimson energy shot forward. Not fast. Not slow. But heavy. Where it passed, stars dimmed. Space itself cracked. The beam hit the human cage. For a moment. Nothing happened. Then the cage bent. Shook. Almost broke. Gasps filled the hull. The scientist shouted. That beam is tearing gravity apart. Taurin feared the worst. But then. The human fleet responded. Not with one weapon. But with movement. The entire formation rotated slowly. Dark ships shifted position. Lines of invisible force connected them. The cage grew stronger. The crimson beam faded. Stopped. Absorbed. The devourer fortress screamed. Not with sound. With energy waves that shook space. Sensors failed. Many leaders fell from their seats. Taurin struggled to stand. "What is that sound?" he cried. The scientist answered in terror. "It is not sound, it is pain." The devourer was feeling pain. The human commander remained calm. "Begin demonstration," he ordered. One single dark ship moved forward. Only one. Small compared to the fortress. But everyone watched it. It stopped close to the enemy. No shields. No weapons visible. Then, the space around it turned black. Not shadow. Not dark. Empty. A hole appeared in reality. The scientist screamed. "That ship is opening a null zone." The devourer tried to move. Tried to escape. But the cage held. The null zone touched the fortress. And part of it vanished. Not broken. Not burned. Erased. A clean circle missing from its side. The fortress reacted violently. More drones burst out. Wild. Desperate. Human defense fire erased them instantly. Taurin whispered. "They are cutting it apart." The human commander nodded slowly. "We are not killing it," he said. "We are teaching it fear." Another dark ship moved forward. Then another. 3 ships opened 3 null zones. Large pieces of the fortress disappeared. Systems failed. Energy cores exploded silently inside. The devourer weakened. But still, it fought. It launched a final attack. A wave of time distortion rushed toward the human fleet. Stars aged in seconds. Light twisted. Space screamed. Several dark ships slowed. Frozen in broken time. The hull panicked. "They are losing ships." Taurin turned to the human. "Can you stop this?" The human commander closed his eyes briefly. "Yes," he said. Then he spoke one word. "Release." The dark fleet answered. Deep inside their formation, something awakened. A massive structure unfolded. Larger than any ship. Hidden until now. A dark sphere surrounded by moving rings. The scientist gasped. "That is not a weapon, that is a device." The human said softly. "Our final lock." The rings began to spin. Reality around the fortress tightened. Time slowed. Gravity increased. Energy collapsed inward. The devourer fortress stopped moving. Completely. Frozen in space. Frozen in time. The drones fell silent. The red light faded. The enemy was trapped. Taurin fell back into his seat. The strongest weapon ever seen had been defeated. Without explosions. Without chaos. Only control. The human commander looked at the frozen fortress. "We will not destroy it," he said. "We will seal it, and take it far from this galaxy." Taurin asked in awe. "How many of these enemies exist?" The human hesitated. "Too many," he said quietly. Then he added. "And we hunt them all." The dark fleet began moving. Slowly pulling the frozen fortress away. Toward deep unknown space. The council hall remained silent. Because now everyone understood the truth. Humanity was not showing power to scare them. Humanity was showing power. So the galaxy could sleep in peace. And this was only a small part of their true strength. The frozen devourer fortress was being slowly pulled away by the dark fleet. Across space, the human warships moved like silent guardians, forming a long protective line around the captured enemy. Inside the council hall, no one spoke. Not because they were calm. Because their minds were broken by what they had seen. High Speaker Taurin sat very still. His hands no longer trembled. They were cold. Around him, leaders whispered in fear. They stopped a god. They bent time. They erased matter. This power could destroy the galaxy. One young leader suddenly stood and shouted. We must demand answers from humanity. This technology is too dangerous. Many leaders agreed. Voices rose. Fear turned into anger. Taurin raised his voice. Silence. The hall slowly quieted. He stood and faced the screen where the human commander still waited. You have saved us, Taurin said carefully. For that, the galaxy thanks you. The human nodded once. But, Taurin continued. This power changes everything. Yes, the human replied simply. That is why we hid it. Taurin hesitated. Are there more fleets like this? The human looked at him for a long moment. Then he answered softly. Enough. The word sent fear through the hall. How many? Someone cried. The human did not answer. Instead, he said. Enough to protect every human world, and many that are not human. The leaders exchanged nervous looks. Taurin asked the hardest question. Could you conquer the galaxy? The hall froze. Every eye moved to the human. The human's face did not change. Yes, he said calmly. Gasps filled the room. But, he added. We will not. Silence returned. Why? Taurin asked. The human answered slowly. Because empires fall. But guardians endure. The word stayed in the air. An old leader stood with shaking legs. If you have this power, why remain in the council at all? The human smiled gently. Because even guardians need friends, he said. Some leaders lowered their eyes in shame. They remembered mocking humans. Calling them weak. Calling them primitive. Now, they understood their mistake. Another leader whispered. What if another race builds such weapons? The human's eyes darkened. Then we will stop them, he said. Before they destroy themselves. Fear turned into respect. Taurin took a deep breath. From this day forward, he said loudly. The Galactic Council recognizes humanity as a protector race. The hall reacted in shock. A protector? Above all empires? Taurin nodded. Not rulers, but guardians of galactic balance. All eyes returned to the human. The human paused. Then he bowed slightly. We accept, with conditions. Taurin leaned forward. What conditions? The human spoke clearly. No race will hunt the devourers. No race will build dark matter weapons. No race will disturb sealed enemies. Why? Someone asked. Because you are not ready, the human replied. And because mistakes end galaxies. The council slowly agreed. They had no choice. But also, they trusted him. Taurin asked one final question. Will you remain hidden again? The human looked at the stars. Yes, he said quietly. But not silent. The dark fleet continued to move away. Taking the ancient enemy with them. Before the channel closed, the human added one last sentence. Remember this day, he said. Not as the day you feared humanity. He paused. But as the day humanity chose to protect you. The screen went dark. The fleet disappeared into deep space. The stars returned to normal. But the galaxy was no longer the same. From that day on, every race wrote one new rule in their histories. Never challenge humanity. And never forget who stands between the galaxy and the darkness. Time slowly returned to normal. Stars shined again. Jump gates reopened. The dark human fleet vanished into deep space, carrying the frozen devourer far beyond the edge of the galaxy. Inside the Galactic Council hall, silence remained. Not fear now, but awe and respect. High Speaker Taurin stayed seated long after the screens went dark. Around him, leaders whispered softly. The Guardians are real. They were among us all this time. They saved us without asking anything. Taurin finally stood. End today's session, he said quietly. The galaxy needs time to breathe. The council hall slowly emptied. But Taurin did not leave. He walked alone toward the ancient record chamber. A place where only the most important moments of history were written. He activated the crystal archive. A new file opened. Title: The Day Humanity Stood Between US and Oblivion. He began to record. On this day, Taurin said, we learned the true meaning of strength. Images appeared in the archive. The Dark Fleet. The Frozen Fortress. The calm human commander. We believed power meant control, Taurin continued. But humans taught us something greater. He paused. Power means protection. Far away, beyond all known maps, the human fleet traveled in silence. Inside the command ship, the human commander stood before a wide window. Stars passed slowly. Behind him, officers worked quietly. The ancient enemy remained sealed inside the gravity prison. Safe. For now. One officer approached. Commander, she said. The council has accepted all conditions. The human nodded. Good. Another officer asked. How many devourers remain? The human looked at the distant stars. Too many, he said. Then he added softly. But fewer than yesterday. The fleet continued forward. Toward another dark region. Toward another hidden danger. Humanity never rested. Because they remembered. Long ago, before the galaxy knew them. Humans had almost lost everything. Their home world burned. Their colonies died. Their children vanished into space. And they made one promise. Never again. On Earth, far from galactic politics, life continued normally. Cities shined. Ships launched. Children studied the stars. Most humans did not know what their fleets were doing. They only knew one simple truth. The galaxy was dangerous. And someone had to stand guard. Years passed. Then decades. Then centuries. The devourers were hunted. One by one. Silent battles in dark space. Victories never announced. Heroes never named. Because guardians do not seek praise. In the Galactic Council, a new tradition began. Every cycle, leaders told young diplomats a story. Not of empires. Not of kings. But of a species from a small yellow star. A species that could rule the galaxy. But chose not to. The final message left by the human commander was recorded and shared only once. It was short. Simple. Clear. We do not want your worlds. We do not want your power. We do not want your fear. We only ask one thing. Protect your people. Protect your future. And if darkness ever comes again, do not run. We will already be there. From that day forward, a new law spread across the galaxy. Not written by force. Not enforced by fleets. But remembered by every race. As long as humanity stands, the galaxy will never face the darkness alone. And far beyond the edge of known space, human ships continued their silent watch. Because the greatest warriors in history were not conquerors. They were guardians.